The first question I got came from Rich, and Rich, I don't know if you're here today, but thanks so much for this. And he's got a great question. It's regarding morning fires and evening fires, and particularly in the fall, in the beginning. And he says, I light the kindling, have a few minutes of smoke, and then I'm burning clean in no time when I have an afternoon fire. But in the morning burn emits what appears to be steam in the first 45 or 60 minutes. I'm kind of skipping around. I'll read what he actually wrote. I'm observing that the first 45 or 60 minutes of a morning burn emit what appears to be steam. I've even climbed on the roof and stuck my face in it. There is a hint of smoke, but it's primarily steam. But after some time passes, the steam goes away, and all I see is heat and signature above the pipe burning clean. If he has an evening fire, he's burning clean in no time. And he says, I guess the core is primed enough at that point, it's ready to take off. He's trying to get his head around the physics of what's going on, and he realizes it takes about an hour of burning to bring the dense brick core fully up to heat, but I'm having trouble understanding what's happening with the water vapor. My best guess is the relative humidity in the morning is highest, and the water precipitates out when it hits the outside air. So Rich's question, Rich, if I can just summarize for you, is basically, why do I get steam in the morning when I light up and not so much in the afternoon? And without going too far into why there's steam in your exhaust stack, which hopefully, most of us understand, there's a lot of physics going on here. There's a lot we could cover, but you're going to have, relative humidity outside. You're going to have the difference in temperature between your stack and the outside air. You're going to have the moisture in your space and the moisture in your wood. Keep in mind, if you put 10 pounds of wood, or let's say, 40 pounds of wood in 40 pounds of wood in a firebox, like an 8-inch batch, and it's 10% moisture content, which is really dry, you still put 4 pounds of water in that firebox. So it has to go somewhere. And not only that, but when you burn wood, you are oxidizing carbon and hydrogen. So you give off water. You bond water with oxygen, or hydrogen with oxygen, and you actually, form moisture just by burning wood. So even if your wood had zero moisture, which it couldn't have, but you would still come up with water. But the real question, I think, is why do I get it in the morning and not in the afternoon? So we all know that that as the moisture in the air inside the firebox, all of that, it's warmer in there, so the air can hold more moisture. As it goes up in the stack, it cools, and when it reaches the outside air, it cools enough to condense the water out, and you can see that water as vapor, as steam. That's it condensing in the air because of the temperature difference and things shrinking. But why in the morning and why not in the afternoon? And I think the biggest reason for that, Rich, is because we build our stoves with absorbent materials. Okay? Even a metal box stove will do that to some extent as it deposits the moisture. You start a burn, it creates moisture, it's warm right where the fire is, so the air can hold more moisture. As it moves along through the cold system, it's condensing on that system and creating more moisture. And then as the warm air, the warm exhaust moves through the stove and heats the stove up, that stuff starts to evaporate back into the gases and then condense farther up, and you kind of just get it moving farther through the system. So in other words, you sort of move the moisture downstream, and that happens even in a metal stove, but it happens fairly quickly as you heat up from stem to stern, right, from the intake to the exhaust, and your chimney gets warm. In the masonry stove, it does the same thing, but even once your masonry chimney is all the way warm at the end, you probably still absorbed a lot of moisture back into your mortar and back into your clay bricks. So as you burn, if it's been sitting cold overnight, it's been soaking some of that moisture back in. Last night's fire, last night's cool air condensed in there. So you've got moisture entrained in there. Now as you burn more consistently through the season, it starts to dry out. You'll probably see less of that, but it really depends on your burn cycles. So there's a lot of variables there, how long it takes for your stack to get warm all the way so it's not condensing inside there, and all of those questions. But I think that's the gist of it with our masonry heaters, why we get steam when the stove has been sitting idle for quite a while. And then another part of that, Rich, would be the difference in temperatures outside and the difference in humidities outside, and water vapor in the morning and in the evening. In the morning, it's typically going to be the air will be more humid. It'll be higher relative humidity, I should say. So things condense out sooner and usually colder, right? So it's going to have more of a condensing effect. So hopefully that answers your question there, Rich.